Hey guys, thanks for watching Faster and Louder. So I'm starting on another part of the project of the Javelin AMX. This time I'm actually doing some more important work, which is getting everything clear in the engine compartment. As you can see, I've gotten a little bit started here already. I got the wiring harness kind of laying out here to the side. I kind of just started on this side and started working my way around. Started getting some lines loose on the master cylinder. I'm gonna get these popped out. I'm gonna get the proportioning valve popped out. Basically just everything cleared out of here. Master cylinder and brake booster obviously need to come out and get out of the way. There's some other electrical nonsense over here that needs to be taken out. I'm probably gonna take the power steering off of here and maybe even replace it with something different that has a little more road feel. I took the motor mounts out already. The next step, which I'm not really super sure what I'm gonna do just yet, I'm thinking about bringing this to a media blaster. There's actually a guy that's like pretty much right down the road from me. One of the main reasons why I'm even considering it is because there's some areas like over here, kind of like where it gets down into these smaller crevasses. Crevasses, I don't know what that word is, but there's some areas, yeah, just like back in there that I really want to get to, but I wouldn't be able to with a wire wheel. And this would just be quick work for somebody with a sandblasting machine. It's not like my shop is like spotless or anything, but if I can make less of a mess and just get this thing prepped the way that I want it, that would be a major plus for me. Another thing that I talked to Ivan about was maybe having him help me kind of just dropping some of this. I believe you can get this subframe out of here separate, but now that I'm kind of looking at it, I don't know, because I think this might be welded right here. If I could get this to a point where this whole engine cross member could get sandblasted, that would be pretty sweet. I'm not sure how far back we would go, you know, maybe just to the beginning of the transmission tunnel, like where that little metal flappage is right there. Still need to figure out how to actually get a lot of this stuff out, because I've never really messed with a lot of this before. I've definitely never messed with proportioning valves. I don't really know how they work. I mean, I have a very basic understanding on how that would work. It just uses valves to make sure that everything's getting proper braking power, and then it goes to the back obviously from there. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue ripping stuff out, but this is the first part where I'm just gonna be getting everything out, and then hopefully I'll have some progress on just getting it all stripped out and ready for paint. One other thing that I will mention is the engine is at a machine shop right now. It's getting final board and everything. It's going to be 30 over. In case you haven't been watching my channel, a 401 was originally here, and I'm getting everything redone. There's a guy in town. His name's Dan Curtis. He has a company called AMC Restorations, and he does everything for AMCs. It's basically the closest thing you could get to having an AMC dealership in your own town. So it's super cool, but that's where I got this car. That's where the engine is gonna go. He's gonna blueprint the whole thing, and it's gonna have some goodies, but that will be a different video for a different time. I just wanted to explain why there's no engine and where the engine is. It's gonna be several months before I actually get the engine back, so that's gonna take a minute. It's gonna be a process, but I'm gonna get everything ready. I just want this whole thing just looking really nice for when the engine does come back. I just want to have this completely ready. Maybe I'll even have the transmission ready. That would be pretty cool. And then I could just put everything back in here, just pat it on the head and be like, yeah, cool. Okay, so I'm getting ready to take this guy out. Trying to do the brake booster with the master cylinder all in one thing. I realized that the actual bracket that's connected to the firewall has 2 bolts on the outside of the firewall, and it looks like 2 bolts that are on the inside of the firewall back in the inside of the car. So that's not super helpful. So I'm taking everything loose from the actual bracket, and then I'll figure out what to do with the bracket itself. I have one bolt left that is being a royal pain in the ass. So wish me luck. Get about 1/16 of a turn every time I do this. So I think by about Christmas I'll be ready to take this out. You know, times like this I'm really glad I don't have air tools or, you know, really any kind of assisting. You know, I just want to feel, I want to feel all the work. It's getting there. Alright, I'm gonna have to call in a lifeline here and ask my dad. Because I see like where the lever is, it comes in through the firewall and it goes into the actual brake booster. And I thought you could just slide it out. And maybe you can, it's just not wanting to do that. Or maybe I'm forgetting a step, I don't know. I just want it to be known that I don't think that I'm a car expert. I don't think I know any more than the average dude, really. I just have a lot more ambition, possibly. But my dad let me know that it connects up in here. It's this right here. I believe that's a brake switch. All it is just a little linkage right there. I unbolt it and then I should be able to pull it out. So having somebody that knows more than you about cars is probably one of the best resources you could possibly ask for if you're trying to take on a project like this, or really any kind of project. Just wanted to point that out. Okay, so I started to do some dumb stuff, basically. I started to detach it from the bracket that's here, kind of not in view, and that's not really the right way to do it. So I disconnected it from the inside behind the brake pedal like you're supposed to, and then I realized that there's the two bolts that need to be loosened from the inside and then a two from the outside, and I'm on the last bolt now, so I'm finally doing this the right way, and now it's coming out. Ta-da! My dad tried to explain it to me, you know, what needed to be done, and he helped with the brake pedal part, but the part where he was wrong was that he thought I knew what I was doing, and I very clearly don't. But I figured it out anyway, so pretty cool. Alright, so I'm at the shop, and I'm waiting for Randy and Ivan. I don't know if either one of them's gonna show up, because, well, you never know if they're gonna show up. But this is where we're at right now, right here at the beginning. There's still a lot of stuff to take out. I really just want to do some of the hard stuff if I have some help here, you know? Some of this is not what I consider easy to do by yourself. Oh, and the fenders. I want to get the fenders off. I want to make sure that I can actually nicely do this surface here instead of kind of like going just up along this tiny little lip here. And I don't know, it just looks, I think it would look sloppy, and I'd like to not do that. So I'm going to try to get this as prepared as I can, and then I can get started on this whole section. So let's just take one last look at it here. All right, Randy and I, we struggled with this for probably like at least an hour, and we finally got it off. This is the reason why I was wanting to take the fender off, though. This is basically just a nice little area to collect a bunch of dirt. Yeah, this is how deep the dirt is. It's coming up to what, maybe like an inch and a half, just dirt, just like, I can like dig in here. Look at that. Yeah. It's just like, this is why I did this though, because I want to get this all cleared out, and then I'm gonna do POR 15 in here so I can make sure this doesn't rot out, because so far it actually seems pretty solid. You can't really see, there's really bad light under here, but there's no rot all the way through. If you want to grab that, you can see the bottom, it still has the coating and stuff on it, and I'm sure there's a little bit of surface rust, but this has managed to stay solid. If this were a car that were up north and it had all this dirt in here, like this would have been rotted. I'm fairly confident about that. So that's one of the fenders off. Now I can start to clean it up a little bit. Like this definitely has some surface rust going on. It's gonna feel good to get this all nice and clean and coated, looking new. I'm definitely making more and more work for myself as I go, but I'll feel a lot better knowing that this isn't all rotted out and filled with dirt like that. The past 20 seconds of video that you saw took about 2 hours. The better part of 2 hours just to figure out how to get this fender off. So at least the second fender won't be that difficult, but let me just show you a couple things real quick. So the first bolt is basically right here in the middle. It's really hard to see where it comes through, but there's like a hole up here where it goes through and connects the body to the fender, so that has to come out. And then there's one underneath, basically where the rocker molding panel thing goes. And then let's see, then there's all the bolts that are on top of the fender. There's 2 bolts here, there's 3 bolts here, and then the headlight bucket, I guess you could call it, gets connected with these 2 bolts here. So it should be like 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 bolts total. So now that I have that figured out, it's gonna be, yeah, like I said, it's gonna be way easier to do this one. Unfortunately, I tried to fish out the bolt the one that goes through, and it fell way down in here. No idea where it's at. I have a magnet, must not be strong enough, or it's way the hell in there, because I can't even figure out where it's at. So that's gonna be the next thing I think I'm gonna try to do. I'll spend another 20 minutes trying to get it out, and I don't know. I got the little bastard. All right, time to move on to the passenger side fender. Wondering why I'm taking all the top bolts off right away, because you'd think that maybe you want to keep one up there, you know, for when everything else is loose, so the whole thing doesn't just fall off or whatever. But you'll notice this little stopper for the hood, it actually goes all the way through like the bolts do, and once you pop this out, then the whole thing will drop out. So I'm actually just going to leave this here. It's not like cracked out or cracked out. It's not dried out enough to where it'll just break under the pressure of the fender or anything like that. So we're good to go on that. Man, I forgot about the antenna. Oh, I got it. Oh man, that was a great achievement right there. Oh. After a lot of struggling, I finally got that thing off. I'm a little concerned by something that I saw on the fender here. As you'll see on the driver's side, it's not beautiful down on this corner, but you can see it's all intact down here. Can't really say so much about that on the passenger side. It's rot got to it just a little bit there. So that in itself doesn't really worry me as much as maybe it should, because you know, you can always patch that later or whatever. But what I'm more concerned about is what's underneath this molding, because there's definitely some stuff back in there, and this panel, this molding is just like impossible to get off. It's all the screws that hold it on are just super corroded. It might have more luck on this side, I don't know, but I'm really wanting to get that molding off now. So as you can see in this one, it just looks like a little mouse litter box up here. It just has a ton of dirt. Like, this is caked in there. It's not quite as bad as the other side, honestly, but still pretty bad. And then this surface right here is kind of why I was talking about wanting to take this off in the first place, because I wanted to paint like this entire section right here. You can kind of see where like the fender actually starts to not mate with this surface anymore. But I wanted to get this, at least this whole strip right here, painted black, or you know, the color that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm obviously gonna end up getting all this coated with POR 15 now that I've gone ahead and taken this off, but I'm really glad that I did. Some of this is a little more crusty than other parts, but so far it doesn't look too bad. The real news is going to be when I shop back out these troughs and see what they look like on the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do next. These actually look pretty decent. I mean, that's, I don't know if these are like galvanized or what, but yeah, these are little drain holes that wow, they got clogged up easy. It looks like, oh my god, it's caked on there. There's like one over here, and then I believe that it's just those two. So hopefully, I almost feel like I should open those up a little bit or something, but I don't know. It just sucks because like these aren't even really serviceable. It's like you might as well consider these untouchable once you put everything back together, because they basically are. Like, you can kind of reach up in here from underneath the fender, but you're not really going to be able to do very much. I guess you could, maybe if you're worried there's like some leaves or something in there, you might be able to pull them out, but as far as like that dirt building up, I don't know if there's a whole lot you can do about it. I guess just try to spray underneath here with a pressure washer and, you know, try to keep this from getting clogged up. That would be about the best thing I could recommend. But this will be all nice and coated, and we won't really have to worry about these rotting out or anything. But like, you know, it's definitely got some surface rust, but you know, you can see when I wipe it, I'm already just smoothing it out with my finger. So it's nothing too serious. I guess like you get a little bit of crust here on some of the edges, but I don't think that's anything that a little bit of blasting, media blasting, won't get rid of. So I'm pretty happy about that. I call that a win for sure in my book. Day 437 of trying to get the engine bay prepared. I actually have Ivan coming over to help me with some stuff. There's a couple things I'm just not super sure about as far as disassembly goes and everything, so I just want to make sure I'm not doing anything really stupid. So he's gonna come over and help me out with that, and we're gonna try to get the engine bay basically 100% ready for media blasting. There we go, guys. Got the Javelin out in the sunlight. Weird. These guys are cool. These guys are the ones that did the sandblasting, or the media blasting on the air cleaner. I'm gonna stand over here somewhere. Guys, check this out. Woo! Man, I'm just really impressed right now. Look how clean these fender troughs are. A lot of this came out super, super nice. It's gonna be a lot of kind of detail work. I'm probably gonna pop these wheels off and I'm gonna get back in there with POR 15 or whatever paint that I end up using. I'm definitely gonna be doing POR 15 for the fender troughs at the very least, and probably just, I would say at least the whole wheel well area, and then like, you know, actual suspension components. So that's gonna be a whole different thing. I'm gonna have to basically, if I can stop tripping on stuff, it'd be cool. I'm basically gonna have to take the wheels off and a lot of the suspension so I can get to these, like the control arms and stuff. I'm gonna have to get to that properly in order to make it look good and be right, quote unquote. There's also a couple little things. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do about this just yet. It looks like it's a lot worse than it really is. Like this doesn't even move at all. I mean, it's bad right here, but it's still solid under here and a little bit over here. But mostly it's got this whole other side that's, you know, no problem. And then there's some pinholes right here by the battery tray that I'm gonna take care of. So that's gonna be a thing. But yeah, overall everything looks nice. I mean, look at that power steering. Looks pretty good. It's better than I could have hoped for, I guess. He got in there pretty good. He did a really good job with blasting this and getting it pretty nice looking. But I am realizing that this is going to be more work than I can really put into one video. I know that a lot of people's attention span isn't going to allow them to sit through an hour of me trying to get this looking good, at least all at once. So this is going to conclude the first part, which is getting everything out of there and getting it to this point that you see right now. Part 2 is going to be painting all of this, making it look good, and getting it completely ready for the engine. So that means getting any kind of grommets probably I'm gonna need over here for the firewall. It's probably gonna mean getting the proportioning valve back on there, getting the brake lines in there, figuring out what I'm gonna do with the power steering lines and all that. Like, I'm gonna be probably doing all that in part 2. So make sure that you subscribe, make sure you like this video if you actually do like it, and I would love if you followed along for part 2 of this and all the other progress that I have yet to make on this Javelin AMX. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.